7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Hi, my name's Paul Rennick. I'm here at the Innovative Percussion headquarters. I work at the University of North Texas on the percussion faculty, and I'm the arranger, music coordinator, and percussion captain for the Santa Clara Vanguard. I'm here today to talk about the F SPR, the F SPR2, and the T SPRs. Back in about 2000, I talked to George and Eric about the possibility of designing a stick that I felt was missing, that we could use not only in drum corps, but also at the University of North Texas. There was an indoor group. I wanted a stick that we could use inside that wasn't as big and bulky as some of the marching sticks that were around. And so the F SPR, we developed this like a drum set stick. My upbringing was heavily rooted in drum set playing, and I just thought that the stick should feel like that. So we came up with sort of a barrel bullet combination of the bead. The tip of it hangs out just far enough so that it adds a little bit of front weight to it, so that it gave the drum a darker, warmer sound inside. It's kind of a natural balance. You don't have to work too hard. It doesn't fly back too fast on you. And it had a diameter that I felt like wasn't overkill in terms of indoor groups. We use this primarily for that. I've noticed that over the years that younger players find this an easy stick to use because of the diameter. So years later, I was teaching a corps that was slightly, in general, like a much louder, more big-time drum corps sound. And it was the first time I had to deal with writing and teaching where we had to project. We had to really come to the table with a lot of sound. Previously, before that, it was the opposite. The percussion section couldn't play too loud. We had to control things. Like the indoor percussion arena was all about balance, controlling the volume levels and still getting a good sound. So I felt like we needed a little more in the arsenal. We needed kind of the same sound, but a little beefier. So what we ended up doing was it's just a slight bit bigger diameter. Kept the same philosophy with the bead, a little bit more of a barrel with the tip on the end, and it had, like I said, that tip on the end really creates a fantastic front weight feel to it. So they're just a tiny bit bigger in the diameter and a tiny bit bigger in the bead, and it really makes a world of difference when you're trying to get that warm, full sound. It makes that a lot easier to get. These are the go-to snare drum sticks, and I think they feel terrific. The next step was what to do with the quad line, what to do with the tenors. And back when I was playing and teaching, everybody used mallets. The first time people used sticks, I think it was really attractive because the sound that shots make, the sound that if you're playing on the smallest drum, it sounds different. But the problem was they felt like snare drum sticks on quads. And I think that was the one thing that kind of initiated the process of coming up with a solution. To have a stick that felt like a mallet. And I remember coming to a meeting with Chris and literally drawing the shape of the bead on a napkin and having him sort of realize that and create a stick out of it. The other problem that it solved was the volume issue. I think it's fair to say that the first thing to go in terms of being able to hear it at a distance is the quad line, is the tenors. You simply don't have the articulation of the snare drum. So it needed to have a little more weight, a little more substance, so that it could create a bigger sound that it could carry a little farther. And also, I'm from a generation too where everyone used aluminum mallets and they had handles. And so it was a very, very handy compositional trick to flip the stick to use your handle. And I think that was something I missed a lot. I did that a lot. I used to rely on that to get more mileage out of the same pair of sticks, so you didn't have to plan the stick changes. You didn't have to pull them out for 2 to 4 bars to make a mallet change to figure out how to come back then. You would simply just 1 count, 2 counts, flip it to handles, you get a totally different sound, and then flip it right back to sticks. So we came up with a solution by notching out the the end of a snare drum stick and capping it with a sort of a tube of rubber. And then the next step was to find the exact right hardness and articulation of the rubber. So that was a totally different sound, but it still had articulation so that you could play rhythms. One of the added benefits of this stick is that when you do flip it to the butts and play, it actually feels like a drumstick. It really does feel almost the same when you play it backwards. And I think that was the final piece of the puzzle. And it becomes a real option. You don't have to just simply play really simplistic things. You can play real parts. You can play rolls and whatever you want, basically. And it still has that feel that feels nice, has a totally different sound, and they switch back. You've got all sorts of options. As a matter of fact, during the show, I wrote a part where we switch them half at a time. I start them out with puff mallets. And it gets going, and then I wrote the actual changes into it. So the puff mallet eventually switches to one of these sticks and one puff mallet. And the stick starts like this. And then the other hand changes, and then you've got two of these. And then I switch one half of one stick, right? So you've got two options. You've got one stick with the handle, one stick with the bead. And then eventually it culminates with moving to both sticks. It shows the versatility, I think, of these sticks. The whole experience of developing these sticks with the guys at IP, it's just a testament to the dedication to detail and excellence, and just every detail. No matter how nitpicky I got, it was always met with another pair of prototypes, and what do you think about this kind of thing. I think it was terrific. I think we finally settled on version 11. Honestly, I think the IP is synonymous with quality. I think they've got such a great reputation for paying attention to details, taking care of all those little minor things that you can look under every crack and rock and you can't find anything wrong.